Joining me now to unpack these critical questions is Mr. Raymond Enoch. He is the Regional Policy Analyst and Publisher and CEO of Paradigm News International. Well, as we explore today's topic, ECOWAS at a crossroads. Can West Africa stay united after the Sahel split? Well, welcome to Global Digest, Mr. Enoch. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, thank you. Welcome our viewers.
Okay. All right. So I have to ask, how significant is the decision by Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger to withdraw from ECOWAS?
Well, you're asking the significance in the context of the negative or in the context of the positive. But for me, I would want to say that it is both ways. Both ways in the sense that to the positive, yes, it is significant for us to consider, discuss, and see what are the fallouts and what should also inform the way forward. And to the negative, yes, it is provided an opportunity for the Economic Community of West African States to reconsider its treaty, which has not anticipated within the context of Article 76, which has dwelt on dispute resolutions. It has not really provided an opportunity. It has not really provided a text for the purpose of which collective country withdrawal from the member states. So, Article 90 of the ECOWAS Treaty as reversed, 1991 particularly, really provides a member wishing to withdraw from the ECOWAS Commission shall provide to the Secretary General, which of course is the President of the ECOWAS Commission, 1 year in notice. And within the period of that 1 year, such a member shall continue to observe the obligation of being part of the ECOWAS Commission. And after, if that 1 year is onus on the authority of head of states to reconsider or not such a member has withdrawn from the commission. It has not really provided for a collective membership withdrawal. So that is the negative aspect that going forward the members of the commission will need to look at.
Okay, so would you describe the withdrawal as a temporary setback, or are you looking at it as more of a long-term rupture?
For me, it's temporal, because when you look at the composition of the Economic Community of West African States, which is ECOWAS, it is made up of 15 member countries, and it has 3 countries have significantly announced their interest to form Alliance of Confederation of Sahel States, which is what is abbreviated as AES. It has only said that you have the majority of 12 on the one hand and the majority of 3 on the other hand, isolating the 3 into a framework that, for me, critics have begun to see that it has provided an opportunity for ECOWAS to look inward and see how it can be able to do better than where we are coming from.
Okay, so from your perspective now, I have to ask, what would you say were the key triggers that led to this breakdown in relations between the ECOWAS Commission and the AES countries? Although on their end, they cited insecurity as one of their reasons.
If you look at the arguments and counter-arguments, the treaty really provided an opportunity for member states to gradually cede part of their sovereignty to the provisions established in the ECOWAS Commission, within which they can enjoy a common market, people coming together to really provide economic integration, and within the context of the democratic governance protocol that was established in 2000. And of course, let's even look at it. Let's even look at it back. When in 2007, member countries got together to establish Vision 2020, which gave rise to the countries really coming together to regionally resource their mobilization, promote peace and security, governance, economic and military integration, and private sector growth. Now, these countries knew about this, but for them to begin to see their withdrawal really as something that could have caused a setback or somehow, it is created an opportunity for evaluation. And that is why we will say that yes, ECOWAS is at the crossroad, but given that it's only 3 member countries that are withdrawn from the ECOWAS Commission for now, and you have the majority of 12 member countries. Walk into the ECOWAS website now, you will see it has been reorganized.
Yeah.
And puts only 12 member countries. And it's a very solid background for which the integration agenda will continue to move on.
Yeah, so would you say this could have been avoided through more inclusive dialogue with the Alliance of Sahel States members?
Yes, if you look at again the Article 76, which has to do with dispute resolution of the ECOWAS Commission, it really gives an ample opportunity for people, member countries, to really come forward with whatever grievances they must have felt, either denied in one way or the other. And the authority head of state said, the treaty said that it is going to be arbitrated by the ECOWAS Community Court. And whatever decisions they have passed is final. But then, again, that has not happened. But recently, even with the tension, the president of the ECOWAS Commission really held a meeting with the foreign ministers of the 3 countries. And from the feelers of what we had, their conversations was on the positive note. And so it has given us an opportunity that if really the text of the ECOWAS treaty is anything to go by, then that evaluation will have been taken into consideration to really say, yes, let's sit down as brothers, let's sit down as people who have worked for the last 50 years to really reconsider our steps. Yeah. What are those things that we didn't do right? We need to go back and do them right. And what are we're supposed to do right, and we are doing it in the negative, and then we can correct our steps. And let me put it in this context, that within the framework of the ECOWAS good governance, it was not anticipated that it was a military that would take over power in these states. But incidentally, that's what happened. And so in that case, it's given an opportunity for us to really look at the entire treaty to say, oh, if it is the military takeover, this could have been the condition that will follow. If it is also the democratic seated president that is refusing to hand over, like what happened in Gambia when Yahya Jammeh was the president, the ECOWAS really stamped its own feet on ground until they got Yahya Jammeh out. And also it happened in Ivory Coast until they got Laurent Gbagbo out. So if it happened, then ECOWAS will now see the possibility of deploying what we now say ECOWAS standing force to ensure that peace and security is maintained at all costs.
Well, peace and security, that is one of the angles ECOWAS is. That's one of the things they're trying to do in West Africa. And another thing they're trying to do is regional integration, their regional integration efforts. Well, particularly their initiatives like free movement, trade facilitation, and infrastructure development, also the ECO single currency project. Would you say that this withdrawal has really impacted regional integration when it comes to these areas? Yes, in one way or the other it will, but basically it may not, in the sense that, like I said earlier, we are dealing with the majority here. And if you look at it within that framework of the majority carries the vote, then it therefore means that it can be said by critics a temporary setback. I'm not running the risk of being a spokesman of the ECOWAS Commission, but the fact of the matter is that the convergence that was taken for the purpose of ratifying the ECO single currency for the region was done in December 2024 here in Abuja. And that time, the member countries of the AES have already indicated their interest to withdraw from the ECOWAS Commission. And that has also moved forward. And the settling of the West African Monetary Agency, fortunately, it was cited in Ghana. So the monetary agency and the monetary institute, they are all cited in Ghana. And of course, that convergence is being pushed through. And we were told that by the end of
2028, we would have had a single currency for the West African sub-region. So for me, trade facilitation is going on. The infrastructure development that has to do with the rail lines, that will have to do with trade corridors within the West African sub-region, from Lagos to Abidjan, from Abidjan to Dakar, and so on to Praia, which is in Cabo Verde. All these are going on within the framework of ECOWAS integration framework. Okay. So for me, it is on a positive note. It's been pursued aggressively, and I've witnessed some of those things actually play out, and it is in the text of the ECOWAS Commission. So for me, ECOWAS is on the right step. Of course, temporary challenges can happen in every system. No system is perfect. So it is expected that ECOWAS will continue to take this as a challenge for them to move forward. And I think they have taken the gauntlet.
Okay. Well, some critics would argue that ECOWAS needs reforms to better reflect the realities of member states and the growing discontent among citizens. Would you agree with this assertion?
I think going with the reverse treaty of the ECOWAS Commission, and also the protocol that sets the ECOWAS framework of within the member states, it has given us an opportunity to see, yes, you have opened up the framework of good governance. And what are those stakeholders that are on the ground? Free press. And for me, the Articles 65 and 66 of the ECOWAS Treaty really need to be brought out clearly, with the role of the media in championing narratives of development within the West Africa. And we need to see that out clearly. And like I said in one of our conversations last week, the citizens organizations, citizen stakeholders like faith-based organizations, like civil society organizations, like the women group, like the young people, really need to be given a voice within the text and the protocols of the ECOWAS Commission. So the critics, yes, could say that ECOWAS needs reforms. And nobody doesn't need reforms. And in a big institution like ECOWAS should be more open to its citizens. And that is why, if you look at the Vision 2020, upon which Vision 2050 was built upon, it moved ECOWAS from ECOWAS of the states to ECOWAS of the people. And within that framework, it gives the citizens of the country, of the member states, voice in the governance and governance architecture of ECOWAS. So that means that reform really need to be situated. And we are calling that, yes, the free press has to really seen to be free, allowed not just to be used as a tool, but allowed to be anchored as a stakeholder, as a partner in promoting development agenda of regional integration, peace and security, trade facilitation and trade liberalization, and of course the general good governance that we need to see.
Okay, Mr. Enoch, it's quite an insightful conversation, but let's move away from ECOWAS right now. How are the ordinary citizens of the Alliance of Sahel State countries likely to be affected by this withdrawal? We would recall that around the time when ECOWAS was celebrating its 50th anniversary, we had a press briefing with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Maitamatuga, and he had said that ECOWAS institutions located in these Alliance of Sahel states, the member states, would be withdrawn and moved away. So this is especially in terms of business, travel, and access to regional cooperation. How would they be likely affected by all of this?
There's no gainsaying about it that they will not be affected. They will. Because these countries making up of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have their citizens working with the ECOWAS Commission. Some of them have spent 20 years, some less than that, some more than that. So it therefore means that if you have to go with the ECOWAS protocol, these citizens will definitely move away from that. So it means in terms of employment, we could say that a lot of people will lose their job. That's on one hand. And then secondly, when you talk about trade movement, the volume of aviation movement that has to do within member states, like for instance, I know of a group that called Global Convergence on Water, Sea and Land Rights in West Africa. is made up of both Francophone and Anglophone. And I once represented the Anglophone countries on that group. And the headquarters is in Mali.
Oh, okay.
And so, if Mali is out, Niger is out, and then Burkina Faso is out. And I know also the legal advisor of that group is from Burkina Faso. So it means that you are talking about people will definitely be affected. There's no two ways about it. And just in 2025, after the ministerial and the ECOWAS head of state meeting that was held sometimes in June this year in Abuja, the outcome of that meeting was about setting up the committee that will move gradually the institutions in these countries to the remaining member countries of West Africa. That of WAO has already been moved, that of the youth has already been moved, and that of the animal, the one that has to do with animal husbandry has also been moved. So all these member countries will be affected. And if there are people that are working in those institutions, will definitely lose their jobs.
Yeah.
So there's no way, there's no two ways about it. They will be affected. But was that what we dreamt of? No. That was not the dream of the founding fathers of ECOWAS. But the military, in their own contextual understanding of contemporary issues, never anticipated this when they took over power. And what they would have done is to discuss within the dialogue framework of the ECOWAS treaty to see how it can be exploited because somebody will be affected. But they never considered that. But what they did was to throw stones back to ECOWAS, and of course ECOWAS has to insist on the rule. And if you insist on the rule, somebody has to pay for it, and that's what we're seeing before us happening.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean that again ECOWAS is at disarray. No, it is only saying that we have a rule and somebody needs to obey that rule.
Okay.
And of course, the military, on the other hand, I was just listening to something about Mali recently that the president has already given himself sin and die rule. He will control ruling until maybe the time God knows when. So is that what we expected within the framework of ECOWAS treaty? No, but it is happening before our eyes. And ECOWAS has to also insist that this is our rule on good governance and it has to be followed.
Mr. Enoch, it's quite an insightful conversation. Thank you for making out time to come. But before we let you go, what lessons would you say ECOWAS and broadly West Africans can learn from this moment?
One of the fundamental lessons that we need to learn, if we actually have to stick with ECOWAS Vision 2050, that has to do with ECOWAS of the people, peace and prosperity for all, it therefore means that citizens really need to take active part in promoting solidarity and promoting peace and promoting good governance in the West African sub-region. And of course, that's how we have the ECOWAS Parliament, represented by member parliament of these countries. And you can only do that when you are having democratically elected governance elected over time. And that was why ECOWAS has to insist democracy has to thrive in Cote d'Ivoire, democracy has to thrive in Guinea-Bissau and Guinea-Conakry, whose election will come about in this year. And of course, Nigeria is also looking forward to organizing elections in 2027. So this is it. If it is not, that's number one. Then the second lesson that member countries and the people of this West African sub-region need to learn is that trade liberalization can only be achieved within the framework of peace. And for us to achieve peace, we must make concerted effort to ensure that what we see within the resolutions and communiques of ECOWAS, whenever the ministers of state meet or whenever the head of states and authority meet, is followed to the letter. Within which we will not be able to have the vision of ECOWAS as set out in the framework of what we have either within the treaty or Vision 2050.
Okay, so whether through reconciliation or reformation, the road ahead will require strong political will, dialogue, and a renewed commitment to the original spirit of the ECOWAS Treaty. Well, many questions remain, but what's clear is that West Africa's future must not only be defined by division, but by cooperation and common purpose. A very big thank you to our guest, Mr. Raymond Enoch. He is the Regional Policy Analyst and Publisher and CEO of Paradigm News International. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much for
It's always a pleasure having you on Global Digest.
It's my pleasure too.